You remember my imaginary friends?
You can't remember if you're imaginary friends or the voices in your fucking head.
What's the difference? Do you remember what you would yell to me when I was off in my own world?
Gert to Gert.
Where are you, Gert? Earth to Gert. Gert. Earth to Gert. So I'm starting a podcast, and that's the title.
Gert to Gert?
Yeah. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Earth to Gert. September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and today I have a very important conversation with a former coworker of mine named Jen. In 2013, Jen lost her child Ayden to suicide, and today she bravely shares her story with us. I'll give you a little warning. This is a tough one. It's emotional, it's raw, and it's extremely honest. Sometimes you meet people and it could just be a brief moment in a training for a new job, but that moment and person remain with you for a lifetime. Jen is one of those humans for me. Aside from a few Facebook messages, the conversation you are about to hear is probably only the second real conversation we have ever had with one another, yet the impact of these conversations on my soul has been so profound. Jen, thank you so much for your bravery, for your honesty, and for your advocacy in honoring Ayden's life. You have always been an inspiration, and Ayden has always been in my mind and heart while creating this podcast. So thank you so much for being a part of this and for sharing your story with us. Today's episode is in honor of the life and memory of Ayden Berto, 1993 to 2013. Hi, Jen.
How are ya?
I'm good. So, how do we know each other?
We met when we both worked for CWI. I think it was probably like 2010.
Mm-hmm.
I was a new manager.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't have been a manager, but I was a manager at the time. And I think you and I were at like a training or new employee orientation or something.
Yeah, we went through orientation together.
Yeah, and I think at the time my daughter, who probably was a junior, not great with years.
Mm-hmm.
No, maybe a little bit younger, sophomore maybe,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, had told me that she was gay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you introduced yourself as
I was
gay.
trying to think
sure.
of that, of how you just knew.
I just came at you.
You did, and
I was like,
appreciated that
like,
so much, because a lot of people hesitate to talk about it until it is spoken about. So maybe I did mention something in orientation, but yeah.
I probably crossed a boundary and asked you if you
Not
were
at all.
gay. I'm not sure.
Nope, I don't think you did, and if you did, I didn't recognize it as crossing. It wasn't a boundary for me. I'm an open book, and I so you want to tell that story from your perspective?
I just was like, I wanted some perspective as maybe mothering somebody who was gay, because it's the first time she has said it to me, and I was like, all right.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was like,
yeah.
I mean, she came in and told me that she thought she was gay, and I was like, this isn't your way of getting out of doing the dishes, right? It's still, I was like, I don't care.
Right.
But I think I wanted perspective of somebody, maybe a female who was gay.
Yeah.
And like what I needed to do as a mom and how can I help her. I think that's what the conversation
that's what I remember too. Do you remember what I said?
I don't.
I remember responding honestly, like, you just asking me this question is enough. You caring enough to go up to a complete stranger and ask
a stranger, hey, are you gay? You look gay.
Right. And ask for advice, like, that was huge to me. It was, and I probably didn't have any advice, because what the fuck did I know?
I mean, you were just as warm as you are now, and I think that it wasn't anything. I think we had a nice conversation.
Yeah.
I remember we were outside on the porch.
Yeah,
somewhere.
during one of our breaks, during our orientation there.
I just was like, let's just do this. Because I think people spend so much time beating around the bush, and not like, I've always been kind of a direct person anyway. I've tried to not be offensive, but sometimes it just, the older I get, sometimes it just
no filter.
I
agree.
Mouth,
no, I loved that moment, and it has always stuck with me, like, always.
Good.
Yeah. So, good job, Mom.
Thank you.
And then, so where do you want to go from here? What do you want to tell about your daughter?
Well, she died by suicide in 2013. Oh, my dog's awake.
I hear him.
When she was 19.
So this was 3 years. 3 years after we had that conversation.
I was still at CWI. I was there, I think, already 3 years, 4 years. I can't remember, because back then time is meaningless. But I was working in Rutland, Vermont, and she was in school in Granville, and she was in crisis, it seemed like, all the time, and I was getting called to school, so I needed to be closer.
Yeah.
So I was offered a job as CWI as a manager, CWI East Point.
Yep.
It's not there anymore.
No.
And I was called to the school probably once a week. So the progression for her was, she felt that she was a lesbian. And then at some point she thought that, or she had changed her name. She was playing on the computer like a Sims game or something. And I didn't understand any of it.
Yeah.
Probably the Gen X in me. It's like, this is who you are, this is how you live. Like, labels were kind of how we defined people.
Right.
And she was somebody who didn't like labels. And I struggled to understand, but that's how people know who you are. So I was standing over her shoulder once on the computer. She was talking to somebody, and she was calling herself Ayden. And I remember just at that, I freaked out. It's like, why are you trying to be somebody you're not? Why don't you just be who you are? You know, after many conversations, she just wanted to be gender neutral, which Ayden is gender neutral. You know males, you know females. And then the progression was, she thought she was trans, and she identified more on the male side. She still hated labels. You know, she would bind her breasts, and she cut her hair, and kind of that part to me felt like it came out of nowhere. Yeah. Because in my mind at the time, when you come out as trans, like, there were always these signs, like maybe in childhood you always, you know, acted differently, or and she just was always this blonde-haired, feminine, petite girl. So that was a struggle. Being totally honest, I was not as supportive as I should have been, and probably a lot of her family. We were like, "What are you talking about?" Yeah. She had some suicidal ideation, probably from like 8th, 9th grade on, with various, she's always struggled with mental health, with anxiety and depression.
Did she make any attempts?
She made an attempt in high school that I know of. I know of like one attempt in high school. I was working at CWI at the time. She had called me and said that she had just, well, she stayed home from school. I didn't know it. She went to catch the bus, hid behind something. So then when I went to work, I assumed that she was on the school bus. But she then went home. She swallowed a bunch of Tylenol and called and told me about it. So then I called my neighbor who went across the street and sat with her and called the ambulance. And then it was a 10-minute drive. I'd probably get home in like 5. So we went to the ambulance. She had the stomach pumped, all of that. To this day, I don't have Tylenol in the house because the doctor at that time told me it's like one of the most toxic over-the-counter medicines that you can have. Didn't know that. Therapy was hard because it didn't seem like anything was like good.
Yeah.
Basic, like she would see a therapist for her just generalized depression. She and I went together. When she started to identify as trans, like there's no, where do you find the mental health, where do you find therapists for that?
Right.
So we were driving to Albany like once a week, and I was on the Vermont border, so it was like a 2-hour drive. When she turned 18 though, she kind of stopped. She was like, I'm an adult now, I'm not gonna be doing this. And I wasn't wanting her in therapy to like change her mind. I just wanted her in therapy to have
some support.
I don't care who you're talking to. It doesn't have to be me. You got to talk to somebody. Like you need, if I'm not giving you what you need, you have to talk to somebody. So she was on some medication.
I was just
going to
ask
had
that.
a sensitive stomach. So none of the medication like worked. You try something new, you have to be on it for a certain amount. It always made her sick. So she would stop. And I remember one time a therapist put her on lithium. And that one scared me because just everybody that I knew at East Point who was on lithium, there was a lot of issues there. So
that's a heavy one.
It was a heavy one.
It's a big one.
And I was like, oh, this is like serious.
Yeah.
This is not like Lexapro. Which did wonders for me, by the way.
Yeah.
This is like a serious medication. But she never felt better. She never could feel like she was herself, but she didn't know what feeling like herself was. So I think I spent so much time trying to convince her of who she should be instead of just supporting her through whatever the process was. So, and that process is different for everybody. But they say hindsight is 20/20 anyway. You look back.
I literally
should have done this.
That's one of my notes. Is tell me about your hindsight's 20/20.
A lot of things I would have done differently. But I also didn't know what the hell I was doing either. So I didn't have a supportive husband at the time. He kind of thought mental health was made up. Didn't understand it. So I didn't really have him to talk to. I felt alone. And I imagine she just felt more alone. So I would have done so much differently. It's ridiculous. What we know now, we can only do better going forward.
I'm a witness that you did the best you could with the knowledge that you have had, and you sought out more knowledge when you could. So I absolutely believe you did the best you could.
But Gert, you live with those. Crazy. So she ultimately died in 2013. She was living on her own with a roommate in an apartment just down the road. And I knew something was off that day. I think we were in, not like a fight, but we weren't speaking. I don't remember what it was about, but she was somebody who was quick to cut you with her words. Like she was very strong that way. And then, I would just be like, okay, I'm just going to handle this by not engaging. I've done that my entire life. Like if you say something, I'm just going to withdraw. So maybe it was like a 2 days of like not really speaking. Like maybe I would send a text, just, hey, how are you? She wouldn't necessarily send it back. And I got a phone call it was like 11:30. from her friend. And I'm like, I don't think Ginger has ever called me, let alone at 11:30 at night. So she said that I could tell that she was emotional, and I think I knew right away.
Yeah.
Because Ayden had been talking about suicide. She had been talking about being unhappy for so long.
Yeah.
And so I think I knew. She's like, you need to come over to Ayden's apartment. And I was like, why? I don't understand. Put her on the phone. She's like, you just need to come over. So I went over. Our other two kids, Cassidy, I think, was around 13, and Cole was around 9. They were in bed asleep. And I went over, and it was Ginger and Denver, who were Ayden's best friends, and then her friend Luke, who was her roommate, and then a fourth friend who I'd met a couple times. I can't remember him, but I can see him plain as day. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
And they're all just kind of standing around. And I start to be like, all right, somebody just needs to fucking tell me what is going on. And then Luke said, Ayden killed herself tonight. And I feel so bad for him because he found her. And it happened at this is like law enforcement shift change. So the original, and she died in Vermont and I lived in New York. So there was a miscommunication. I wasn't notified by law enforcement. I think they made the decision because it was in one state, I lived in the other, and because she was over 18. I think they were going to try to figure it out in the morning. So I called 911 from her apartment, and I said, I was just told that my daughter killed herself tonight, so I'm really seeking some verification. And they didn't tell me over the phone. They showed up. It was a young trooper. I think it was probably his first notification that he ever did. He didn't handle it great. I was kind of comforting him at one point. And all he really did was just hand me the card to a funeral home. He didn't,
Yeah.
That whole night was just crazy, but.
Yeah.
And then it was verified, and I went home. It was like, I don't want to tell my kids. It's the middle of the night. I did go up and wake up Cassidy and told her. I'm sure I was hysterical. I chose not to tell my son. I wanted him to have one last normal day.
Yeah.
So I told them differently because I knew they needed to hear it differently.
Yeah.
And then they handled it differently. The way Cassidy needed it was she needed to be out of the house a lot because there was a lot of sadness. So she spent a lot of time at friend's house, her then boyfriend. And Cole wanted to be home. He wanted to be by my side. He was worried. What if we die? So
Yeah.
I just parented them how they needed to be parented. I don't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Nobody does.
No.
No.
But I mean, it changed everything.
Yeah. The whole landscape of your life.
Yeah. Changed everything.
Yeah.
And then I found the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention. I with my sister saw a flyer for a walk. I'd never seen anything. There's cancer walks, there's Alzheimer walks, it's raising money. I'd never seen anything. So it was fate, timing, however you want to view it.
Yeah.
So I kind of jumped into that just because
Yeah.
I don't think I grieved for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't think
I mean,
I still grieve.
I was just gonna say, there's There's such a process
Yeah.
to it.
I mean, it's been however many years, I still cry every time I talk about it.
Of course you do. Why wouldn't you?
So.
Thank you for talking about it.
Sure. I mean, I've talked about her, I think since day one. I just can't do it without getting emotional. Because I found her where she left a journal. And she had, that night, she was determined. And she had made up her mind. She was determined. She tried one method, it didn't work. She wrote about it in the journal. So then she tried again.
The same method?
Different method. And I said she was determined to do it. Like, she had been unhappy for so long. And I know that, like, I don't know if this is what people want to hear, but I think some people they need the peace. They need, because we talk all the time about it gets better. And I believe that it gets better.
Yeah.
For some people. I believe talking about it is bringing it to light. It makes it so it can make somebody who's struggling feel less alone, less ashamed.
Yeah.
Whatever they're feeling.
Yeah.
But I think some people, it doesn't get better.
Yeah.
And that's terrible to say, and that's not the message that I want to put out there, but it's almost when they make that decision, as devastated as you are to lose them, you know that they're not struggling.
Yeah.
And I think there's a difference between people who just have, like, depression.
Yeah.
And people who have debilitating mental illness, depression, anxiety, where it affects every aspect of their life. And they get sick of talking about it. And they get sick of trying different medications. And they get sick of going to therapy when nothing changes. So it's like I made peace with her decision because I knew that she really was struggling.
Yeah.
It sucks that she was so young.
Yeah.
You know, her brain wasn't developed. She was still just a kid.
Yeah.
And I think that if she had stayed, I hope that her life would have been better.
Yeah.
But you don't know that.
Right.
You know? And I don't want the message to be, it's okay if you're struggling to die.
Right.
I want the message to be like, I understand
Right.
your struggle.
Right.
And I understand that you must feel like it's just darkness all the time.
I read once that you said dying by suicide, and let's stop and talk about that language for a second too. Is that's another thing that I read in your advocacy after Ayden's death, is there was an article out there about that language of not saying that they died by committing suicide.
Right.
They died by suicide.
Right. Because committing implies that you're doing something wrong. Like you commit a crime, you commit, something that is wrong and punishable.
And there's sort of a negative connotation to that. And what I was also going to say is that I read a quote from you once that said, you think dying by suicide is similar to someone dying of cancer.
Yeah.
And I 100% agree with that. When I walked away from the Hudson River the night that I didn't end my life, I walked away with this understanding that my brain was sick and that I could get help and that I should get help, and that what I was experiencing were symptoms. And I feel very strongly that Ayden was coming from a sick brain, and for whatever reason, like toxins in her environment, like parasites in her brain, there are so many reasons that make our brain say those things and think that way. And I wholeheartedly believe that's what Ayden was experiencing.
And just because I'm saying it can get better.
Right.
doesn't mean that they could hear that
and
believe
see that and
accept that,
understand that in the moment. Right. Right.
I think it's really the final symptom.
Yes.
Right.
Agreed.
So, and everybody has a different path.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a process. But I do think that losing someone to suicide might be different, just because I think the survivor's guilt.
How have you survived the survivor's guilt?
Well, I think for me, I relied on friends. I tend to isolate anyway.
Yeah.
I'm somebody who always has preferred the company of myself, my dogs, a few select people. I'm not an extrovert. It's exhausting being around a lot of people.
Yep.
Married to an extrovert now, so we're trying to navigate that.
Little yin yang energy.
He brings me out of my shell, and I remind him it's okay to like be in it.
Right.
You know.
Good balance.
I use so much dark humor.
Yeah.
It's the only way. I think in the very beginning was to really get through it, because like people were like, "I can't believe you're laughing about this," and I'm like, "Listen."
It's the only way to survive sometimes. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I still do. Dark humor has saved me on many occasions. And just feeling like I was being involved.
Yeah.
But looking back, being so involved in AFSP was just busy work.
Yeah.
Keeping me from really thinking about stuff. So, you know, I focus on my kids. I focus on myself, I think, for the first time. And just kind of put one foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of parents, after they lose a child to suicide, also contemplate suicide. But I think suicidal people genuinely believe that their loved ones are better off.
Oh, yeah.
They genuinely believe they're a burden.
Wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
That's my thought. My brain did that all of the time. My kids were better off, and I needed to hurry up and do it before they got any older. Like, so yeah, I agree.
And that's just the way that people who struggle, and I wasn't thinking my kids are going to be better off. I was thinking I cannot do this to them. So that's just kind of how I went about living.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Yeah. What role does advocacy play in your life today?
I've taken a step back. I just didn't.
I wondered if you had to do that.
Yeah. It just was, because I was doing the community walk every year in Saratoga. I was doing fundraisers to raise money. I was doing school events. I briefly offered a support group. I did the training, did the support group, but I was just like, I can't.
Yeah.
I wasn't necessarily focusing on what they were saying because I was still thinking about my own loss. It's like, okay, that's not for me. Also, an introvert leading a support group. I was like, all right, let's call it. It's been 10 minutes. And, you know, it just gets to be a lot.
Yeah.
And so I took a step back. I don't know where it's going to be in the future for me, but right now you know, I tend to find a lot of people that are struggling.
Yeah.
Or they find me,
I
I
was just
should
going to
say.
say they probably find you.
So just a lot of organic conversations happen anyway, but I'm not going to be doing any more speeches. I don't think so. I say that, and then who knows what's going to come up in the future. But, you know, especially in 2025, people are stressed, and there's just tension and depression and anxiety and everywhere, you know. So I don't know what it's going to lead to me in the future.
Right. Yeah.
I focus on just raising money because it just kept me busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did basket raffles and biker. What are those when the bikers get out and do
the rallies?
Biker rally and
yeah,
like a quarter auction. I can't remember all the things. My sister was amazing. She was. She just stepped up and did whatever was needed. And her husband, he was also amazing. So you just rely on the people that you know that are going to be there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And hopefully I thanked them. I don't know if I did or not.
I'm sure they know.
And we just kind of carried on.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you didn't really have a lot of choices, especially when you have, I just focused on, and I always said this, I don't know how parents who have one child and that child dies carry on.
Right.
Because I had the other two
Right, to keep going
on.
for. Right.
So the parents who lose their only child, I mean, maybe there'd be, I don't know. I'd like to think that I would still, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I really, they were my focus.
Yeah.
Thank God.
How are they today? What are they up to today?
Cassidy is a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
She and her partner actually just moved back to the house that they were raised in. And she has almost 2-year-old little Liam.
Nice.
And Cole is 22. My brain isn't as sharp as it should be. He has a good job working for the county.
Good.
And they're
Great.
good. Like they're, we talk about her all the time.
Yeah.
So we kept her alive just in capacity. And then one of the other things that I did, so she had this good friend Ginger and her good friend Denver. And Denver kind of moved to the area. Denver had a very, very traumatic upbringing. And when Ayden died, these two kind of just showed up out of nowhere every day. They were there for Cassidy and Cole. They were there for me. Like they would cook dinner for me. I would come home to a clean house. And then I grew to really like Denver and just kind of could relate a little bit to some of her background. And I approached her. I was like, I know this is going to be weird. And it's not, I'm not like trying to replace Ayden in any way, but I think you need people to call your own. And I want to be people. So how do you feel if I like adopted you? She was an adult. She was like, cool, no problem. So now I have Denver and Ginger as part of my family as well.
That's awesome.
Because I just think people need people.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't need a ton of people, but you just need a couple core people that are going to be there for you.
100%.
So that kind of worked its way into the aftermath of all this too. So things are good.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Good.
I have a great marriage. Got a new puppy who I said was a terrorist, but I know he's awake in there and he's being chill.
Yeah.
A grandson.
It's amazing.
So things are good.
Does Ayden still send you signs?
I just had a dream about her.
Yeah.
I hadn't dreamed about her probably in 2 years. And I had a dream that she was with her stepmom, who I've become very close to, Michelle. We were like back to school shopping or something, and I saw them coming from like around, like, you remember how malls used to be back in the day where they like have this big opening here and like over there. So she was coming around, they were waving, and she got up to me and gave me a ginormous hug. It's like you feel the hug.
Yeah.
So, and then I see dragonflies everywhere.
Yeah.
Like so I work in Rutland, Vermont on State Street. And if you don't know where that is, you're not missing much. But like out in the parking lot, there's always a dragonfly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no water here.
Right.
So I'm always,
Yeah.
so yeah, I see little things, but I definitely think I'm looking for them too.
Right.
So
Right.
it's nice to see. Like I'll be talking to somebody and a dragonfly will go by and I stop talking to that person. I'm like, oh, look, here's Ayden coming to say hi, or here's Ayden telling you your shirt's ugly, or something like that. So I do see those things.
Yeah. I've been telling like the last few guests that I've talked to, my desire to do this, came from me, I guess, but I also feel like it's coming from other people, and Ayden has always been a voice in the back of my mind. for one, I don't know if I don't know what order, like, episodes. I've had conversations that aren't released yet, so I don't know if this conversation has been out there yet, but in 2010, literally the day that we started orientation is when my sister's boyfriend died, when she found him dead. There was a podcast episode about that earlier. And that whole time period, like, watching my sister go through that grief is one of the reasons that I stayed on this planet, because I was, that whole time period when you met me, it was a huge transition in my life, and I was extremely suicidal. Yeah. Extremely suicidal that whole summer of 2010. And around the time that Ayden passed is when I was really coming out of it, and the thoughts were lessening, and then watching you go through it, and then a year later my girlfriend's brother died. I had so much guilt for the thoughts that my brain used to do, right, for what I almost put my family through. After watching you guys go through that, and I almost put my kids through that. And I don't know what, I mean, I do know what kept me here, but I'm great, you know.
I'm glad you're still here.
Me too.
You know, and I think, like, well, that's the biggest takeaway is, you hear people say it all the time, is you just don't know what people are going through.
Right. Right.
You don't know what their struggle is.
Right.
You know, somebody says that they have a trauma. It doesn't mean, it doesn't have to be a traumatic thing in your mind for it to be a traumatic thing
right,
for them.
Right.
So, like, just don't be an asshole to people.
Yeah.
Is like the biggest, you know, be kind, be patient. And I find myself still be like, oh, this chick was just such a bitch to me in the store. But, you know, maybe their kids give them a hard time. Maybe,
right,
like,
right.
Because I would have, like, probably popped off.
Right.
You know, 15 years ago, 10 years ago. Right. But now I'm like, oh.
A little bit different perspective about things.
Maybe I don't need to tell her that she sucks. You know, right. Maybe I just let her, you know, or maybe I just let her have whatever emotion she's having, and it's not even about me.
Right. So, this part I'll probably edit out, but I just had this realization of why that moment with you was so, like, impressionable, is because that year I was in a huge fight with my mother. And when I came out, things were not good with my mother. So I really wanted my mom to do what you did. She, you know, I didn't get that, and I was so, like, touched that you did that for your child.
It's better now, though?
It is better now. We have come
good
so far.
And I think, just speaking as a mom, is your mom my age? Older?
She's 73.
So that's a generational thing.
Such a generational thing.
So,
yeah. And I understand that.
Yeah.
And I do understand that.
I'm glad that she's come around.
Yeah.
I'm glad that she gives you more, right?
She does.
Yeah.
Still a work in progress. But, yeah.
I mean, I always just kind of viewed it as, and it's just my, like, I don't care who my kids are. I'm going to love them regardless. I struggled, though, just because I didn't understand.
Yeah. Right.
And I think that's the thing, is like, if we don't understand, and if we have this view in our minds of what our kid's life should look like, and it veers from that, we're like, wait a minute.
And how much fear did you have for?
Terrified.
Right.
I was like, what do you mean you're binding your breast? What do you mean that you're yesterday
it's
you
not
were
a nice
wearing
world
makeup
out
and
there.
being,
Right.
a girl, for lack of a better,
Yeah.
to not.
Right.
What do you mean? What do you mean? I
Right.
just was like, this isn't. There was, to me, no signs other than the generalized depression, anxiety, and thinking that she, liked girls.
Right.
So it's like, what do you mean? This life is going to be so much harder than if you're just a lesbian.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
that comes with its own struggles,
Right.
right? And I'm like, that's all right.
Yeah.
Gay people are just people,
Right.
right? But I was
Right.
like, trans people also just people. But I'm
Right.
like, you are choosing, in my mind, I know it's not necessarily
Right.
a choice.
Right.
You're choosing this life that is going to like kick your ass because people aren't kind
They're
and
not.
people aren't
Right.
you
And
know.
scary. I mean, look at the world today
Right.
for trans
people,
folks.
you get killed for just
Right.
being who you are.
Right.
And I just was like, this, like, I knew that she had people in her family that weren't going to, they
Right.
ultimately did. And to this day, if somebody calls her by her given name, I freak out. I'm like, she died for the name that she gave herself.
Yeah.
We're going to respect her and honor her and call
Yeah.
her the name that she wanted to go by.
Yeah. I've always wondered what pronouns I should be using when discussing
Ayden?
or talking about Ayden.
I think
Yeah.
she was leaning back to the she and her.
That's what I
think
thought.
I
I
was
think-
calling her that, and she wasn't
Yeah.
correcting me anymore.
Yeah.
They wasn't really a
Right.
thing then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, because she lived as a boy for a year or two. Again, I don't. Timing is in my
Yeah.
mind is off.
Yeah.
And then kind of started to come back around to feminine Ayden, but still wanted to go by Ayden because I think she just wanted to be gender neutral.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, was non-binary our term? It was gender neutral, right?
Probably was, but
Yeah, I couldn't
Remember.
remember what was, and I do remember that was part of the conversation that first day that we talked.
yeah.
So I think they were already struggling with the conversation. then.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just was like, I don't know what to do.
Right.
How can I tell me how to support
Right.
her?
Right.
And it would have been to me, like if she was gay, living her life, I'll be the first one there to show up for your events. I don't care if I have a gay son. I don't care any of that stuff.
Right.
But I think I just didn't understand the transgender part.
Right.
It's still very confusing because there's still so many layers for people who are trans, and then people that are trans and then realize that maybe they shouldn't be and they detransition. So it's just so complicated.
So complicated.
And I don't remember dealing with any of that when I was growing up.
No,
80s, 90s.
I think people have asked me my take on this, subject, and I do think social media plays a huge role in
Yep.
getting kids' brains thinking differently than they would if they didn't have it. If they were just in their homes with their immediate
Right.
families. I think they get exposed to so much more and so many more opportunities. What I think, and I think if I was growing up in today's world, I would be trans, I would be non-binary, I would, not necessarily trans. I've never thought that I wasn't a girl, but I have always not been a girl at the same
Right.
time,
That
right?
makes sense now for me.
Yeah, when I explained it to this one guy that I know, I said to him, I was like, I want you to picture a girl right now. Just picture a female. Just picture a woman. All right, put her in this box over here. I was like, and then I want you to think of a dude. I want you to think of a guy. Put any picture of a guy, and I want you to put over there. It's like, all right. I was like, where do you put me? What box do you put me in? And he's like, oh.
Right.
I get,
Some box in the middle.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm here in the middle. I got these female parts, but
Right.
I'm at so there is masculine and feminine energy within all of us. And I think you said it earlier, Ayden boycotted labels.
Yeah.
I think that's what this generation of humans is doing for us, is undoing those stereotypes
Right.
and those labels, and I applaud the
Yeah.
fuck out of them
I imagine
because
it's a hard
it's so
thing.
hard and it's so confusing, and you know, I don't know.
Because when you, like my generation, like you look at a person, you
Yeah.
can tell right away, okay, that's a man,
Yep.
that's a white man,
Yep.
it's a he's got a
Right.
beard, so he's masculine, right?
Right.
But you can't
Mhm.
do that now because you'll have,
Mhm.
and I don't know all of the terms, so I'm
Yeah.
not trying to offend anybody, but
Yeah,
you'll
I
have a
don't either.
biological female living and identifying as a man, they'll have facial hair,
Mhm.
but they still want to have a family so they could still get pregnant and they're pregnant.
Mhm.
So that's confusing.
Mhm.
Personally, I don't care how you. I don't care. Live your life.
Mhm.
It's your life. Do whatever you want to do.
Mhm.
You know, like I'm not so selfish to think that you need to live your life how I think you need to live
Right.
your life.
Right. And I think that's just the point. Is just
Right.
let everybody
your
do
life.
whatever the fuck they want. Who cares?
Live your life.
Right.
I mean, if you want to tell me you're a tree, great.
Right.
I don't care.
Right. And just imagine if we lived in a world that was like that.
Yeah.
Like, would Ayden still be here?
And I say that now, but I struggled in 2000,
Yeah.
probably 10.
Oh, I'm
2010,
sure.
2011. That was
Yeah.
a struggle for me.
Yeah. And I think, like, again, that came from a fear-based place. You know, that's your
What are
your
people gonna
baby.
say?
Exactly.
What are people gonna think? How are they gonna treat
Exactly.
you?
Why wouldn't you
Right.
want, you know, differently for your
Right.
child? Like, that's an extremely scary world. In hindsight's 2020, you had no knowledge that.
Other
know.
than a movie, have you seen Boys Don't Cry?
No, God, I will not watch it again. But yes, I have.
So I had that going on.
That's, I mean,
every
exactly.
time Ayden was telling me something, and I'm like,
And listen, I literally will not watch that movie again. I watched it
Terrible movie.
one time,
Jesus.
and
True story.
if that's your only introduction to what
Yeah.
it means to be a trans man,
Yeah.
like, of course you're gonna shit yourself and want
And
your
I was
daughter
like,
to just be a
"Oof."
lesbian.
Yeah, she's just be gay. I
Right.
remember saying that to her, but she's
Right.
like, that's not how it is for me. I'm like, well, how is it for you? She's like, I don't even know.
Right.
And you know, like if she came to me now, who I am now, with whatever issue, I'd be totally better equipped to handle it
Yeah.
than I was then.
Yeah.
You know, I had her at 19. Probably had no business having kids so young. I wasn't equipped to do it, and I was a single mom, and like just struggle to every day live, pay your bills, take care of your kids,
Survival.
and you know, if I had her when I was all this, what if I did this? What if I did that? What if this happened?
Right.
But you know, if I had her when I was older, maybe it would be a different outcome. But that's part of the wow, you sucked as a mom.
You didn't.
It's a work in progress.
I know.
But
You didn't.
you know, I just feel bad that she went through so much.
I think she would have went through so much regardless of who her mom was.
Right. Maybe.
I think it's all part of it. I think it's, you know, I don't know if this is too woo woo for my audience, but I believe in soul contracts and you know,
Yeah.
that was hers.
I think you are. Now I think you kind of are who you are, and you're born how you're born.
Yeah.
And some people are born, and everything is just great in their life, and there's no issues and there's no struggles, and you're born straight, you live straight, you marry, and you have your kids like that. And other people are just born different. Doesn't make it bad, doesn't make it wrong. It's just different, and they have like every struggle you can think of.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. It's not fair. It just is. You know, we touched on social media. I think that is killing people.
I
think
agree.
Kids in school, the bullying is crazy. Kids who are different.
What role was social media in her life? You mentioned the Sims
It was
game, but did she
minimal.
have cell phone access?
She had a cell phone, but it wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
Where like you get on so like the internet and the bullying and stuff.
Yeah.
Like when she was into this Sims thing where she was like it's like a computer. I'm gonna butcher it, but it's like a computer simulated thing where you kind of like build the family and life that you want. And she made herself in that game totally different. And I was like, why are you making yourself different from who you I remember it was such a thing for me. I don't know why it was such a thing for me. I'm like, why aren't you just, because I've always been this, like, just own who you are, be proud of who you are.
Yeah.
Easier said than done when you don't know who you are.
True.
You know, so.
True. Maybe that game was a way of her trying to figure out who she was.
Yeah, I think so. And then she had the other part that I have some feelings around this to this day is that she was talking online to somebody in England who was identified as trans. And for the longest time, I'm like, this wouldn't even have been introduced to my kid if she wasn't talking to this person online over, you know what I mean? And
yeah.
well, I don't know, maybe that was a strong connection that she needed. Maybe
Right.
it was helpful, maybe it was hurtful. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. And who's to say, like, when she, you know, got older and got out in the world, that it wouldn't have come up then anyways. But I do agree that's part of the reason why we see more of it today is because it's just more accessible.
Yeah.
It's more, you know, there's more knowledge,
Yeah.
you know, surrounding it.
Yeah. The internet. I mean, if my kids were raised when I was raised, my son has said this to me. He's like, man, if I grew up in the 80s, I think life would have been amazing. And I was like, just think about how much I did that your grandma didn't know that I was doing because we just did it. Partying in a cornfield, listening to music,
and now everybody's got Life 360, and you know everybody's location.
Being at some rando's house that you just met, you know, in the back of their Buick, whatever.
3 towns over,
You're like, yeah, I'll be home by whatever. But mom can't call me.
And
I can't check in. And now, like, if I text my kid and they don't get back to me, I'm like panicking. And they're all grown up. They're adults. I do the same thing to my husband. I'm like, I want that immediate notification from the text that I.
How is your mental health? Like you just said, your anxiety is a little. That's probably a product of your trauma, and I'm gonna imagine you had a little bit before. All of this, anyways.
So I've always kind of dealt with some level of depression and anxiety myself. My anxiety has always been more like situational. More like if I'm in a large crowd,
social,
or if I've always hated the crowds. Now it's become more like, what if? Like I could be sitting here on my couch and I start to think about, what if my husband's driving home from work and some idiot swipes him off the road and kills him? He works 5 minutes down the road. So I've started to do more of that type of unnecessary panic. And I'll sit here, I'll have a conversation with myself. It's just your brain. Everything's fine. He's just at work. He's busy. He can't answer you. And I do the same with my kids. And I think that's just life. Like if somebody...
It's a very common experience from what I've experienced.
Like, what if this happens to everybody else in your life? So I take a lot of mental health days. Not ashamed of that whatsoever.
Good.
I'll wake up in the morning and be like, I'm not feeling it. I'm fortunate that I have a job that has good benefits and I have a good amount of leave time. I accrue it as fast as I use it. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. I've learned to take better care of myself. I've learned that no is a full sentence. I don't do things I don't want to do, and I don't apologize for it anymore.
Good.
Like, I don't worry about people please. I've never really, anyway. I say I don't like it's a new thing. I've always kind of been this way. But now that I'm in my 50s, I just want to be. I want to see the people that I want to see. I don't want to be around people I don't want to be around. I don't feel like I need to explain that to death to people.
I love that.
Is good. Like, this is what I need. I know that. This is what I'm going to communicate to you that I need, and that's it.
Good.
People in my life, and I genuinely feel this. I'm not trying to be a stuck-up snot or anything, but like, I feel like I'm good people. And if I want you in my life, like,
That's why you're on
That's
season.
good for you.
That's why you're on season 1. You're good people, and I've always had you in a part of this. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Toot your own horn.
Toot toot.
You are good people, and I knew that from the moment you walked right up to me and just blatantly asked me if I was gay and how to help your daughter.
I wasn't like, you look gay. Are you gay? I hope I didn't do that. But
no, I don't think that you did. I'm sure that I was
a gay person out in the wild. Let me ask them some questions.
They are pretty rare.
Yeah, I know, right? But everything kind of works out how it works out. So
it does. It does.
Happy.
Do you have any like I don't want to say advice, for parents or going through the grieving process or struggling with any of this,
I would say that if you're in it, whatever you're feeling is correct. Whatever you're feeling is fine. It's such an individualized, personalized process that there's no wrong way to feel.
Right.
There's going to be people in your life that don't get that. They're going to say to you, like what was said to me, don't we think we should be getting over this by now?
Oh.
Is grief going to be a part of our everyday?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm no longer married to.
Yeah, I was just going to say that definitely
that
sounds like
person,
a spouse.
But, you're going to have people that are just, they don't know what to say,
That's
so they
so
say the wrong
I'm sorry.
thing.
That's so awful.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
That is such a shitty thing.
Yeah. He just didn't get it.
Yeah.
But, if all you can do that day is all you can do,
Right.
it's all you can do.
Right.
You don't need to apologize to people.
Yep.
If you want to snap at somebody, snap at somebody. If you want to cry, cry.
Yeah.
It's going to take you however long it takes you
Yeah.
to feel somewhat okay, normal.
Yeah.
Because you're always going to have a child that died.
Right.
So you're always going to be in that camp, right? So parents are either going to understand that or they're not.
Right.
And like when you meet somebody who's lost a child, it's like you don't have to explain and you don't have to apologize. You just get to be.
Yeah.
Or really anybody, but my experience is just losing a child.
A different understanding.
Right.
Yeah.
When they say parents aren't supposed to bury their children. And that's true.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how it's supposed to be.
No.
And it happens far too often to far too many people. And I don't know what the answer is, but I think starting with just if your kid comes to you and if you're lucky enough to where they communicate with you,
right?
Because they don't always.
Yeah.
So if they're communicating with you, something's wrong, just shut the fuck up. Just listen and just be there. They may do things that you disagree with.
I love that.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Because even though they're a kid or however old they are,
Yeah.
they still have a say in their own life.
Right.
Even if you think it's wrong, even if you think that this isn't right,
Yeah.
they've got to go through it.
Right.
One way or the other, and your job as a parent is to just be there and support them how they need it,
Right.
not how you need to support them, how they need you to support them.
Right.
So I think I just didn't shut up and listen, because I kept trying to convince her, like, what?
Yeah.
We're not trans.
Right.
What do you mean?
Right.
Right. I feel like I wasted too much time instead of just, all right, I love you no matter what. I mean, I said that stuff anyway because I felt it, but I just was like, I don't know. I think because she had a suicide attempt in high school, she also, after that attempt, stayed for a week at Brattleboro Retreat, which I don't know if you've ever seen an inpatient facility.
I've seen Four Winds.
Four Winds was amazing compared to Brattleboro Retreat, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I remember we had family day at the retreat, And it was like such a wake. Yes, she just had this suicide attempt, and that was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
But going in there, like, she had to give away. She couldn't have shoelaces.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't have belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, her clothing had to be like what they gave. And I
Mm-hmm.
remember walking in, and it was a unit. Like, she was 18, but she was still on the youth side.
Yeah.
And like, there's a kid over here banging his head into the wall. And there's a girl over here picking the scabs from where she cut on her arm. I was like, oh shit, like, this is really real.
Real, right.
And I remember thinking, all right, like, we need to get it together.
Yeah.
So I was a little bit more focused after that of keeping her alive.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was focused so much on saying the right thing, but my focus is to just keep you alive.
Yeah.
And I think she had a couple of attempts in the middle, but I don't know that for sure.
Yeah.
So it just changes everything when your kids are struggling.
Yeah.
You know, and I imagine somebody who does struggle, like yourself, also feel like alone.
Yeah, I did
right?
for a
And
while.
ashamed and
Yeah.
it's like
There was so
you
much
just can't-
shame.
Yeah, and there shouldn't be, but it's
Right.
just there.
Yeah. There was shame and I've been in therapy for a long time, so I've come to understand like the many different layers of my brain and how I got to be where I was, but I denied the fact that shame was a part of it for a while, but shame was absolutely
Right.
a huge part of it. I was ashamed of what was happening in my life that year, and I was ashamed of what had happened in my life prior, and I was ashamed of the thoughts that were happening in my brain. I was ashamed of my brain telling me to die, to leave my kids, to leave my family. Like, the day that I said out loud, and I didn't even say it out loud, I texted a friend, but the day that I texted, do you remember Allison from
Yes.
Cedar? She
Yeah.
was the one that I texted. And, you know, my doctor put me on meds, and one of the side effects was suicidal thoughts, and I'm like, I'm already having them. What if
Right.
I'm already having them? And that's what I texted Allison. And to say those words, it was so hard. So hard to get those out. I was bawling.
But you chose the
Absolutely
person who
bawling.
was there to hear it, right?
Yeah.
Allison is good people too.
Yes, and she made me text her every day until I felt comfortable on the meds. And she, you know, obviously, you know, working in the trenches of CWI, you get
Right.
pretty close to your workmates, and so yeah, she was pretty influential that year. But yeah, shame was such a big part of it for me, and kept me from saying it out loud.
Right.
And then once I was in counseling too, it was hard to talk about too, because I didn't want to get locked up.
Right.
And that was before I knew how awful being locked up was.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in my journey since then, I have learned about how awful our mental health patients are treated, especially when they're in crisis. So that's going to be another layer to my advocacy, is trying to make some changes in that world, or at least get the conversation started about how awful that experience is.
And I think having the people that are not only qualified, but like good at it. If you're in the mental health field and you're helping, your job is to help people, you need to be good at what
Yeah.
you're doing, and
Yeah.
not just kind of, well, it's a
And-
job, so I'm going to do it. You got to be
And
passionate about it and know
And
what
the
you're doing.
judgment and shame you get from the staff there too. Like,
Yeah.
I know there are some great staff, but
The bad ones make
the
good
bad ones make it so bad.
Yeah.
And how are you working in this unit and not understanding that this human's brain is
Right.
sick, and that's the reason they're having these behaviors, but you're going to judge them and treat them like less of a human being because of it?
Yeah. It's usually the people that should not be working in those places are the ones that have the jobs.
Correct.
So.
Correct. Yeah. And like I said, like I know there are good people in there, and a lot of these measures were put in place for a reason, but you know, I don't think it's fair to take someone who is suicidal and leave them in a 6x8, basically jail cell,
Yep.
all alone.
For what purpose? Just
Like
'cause-
with no interaction, no therapeutic conversation, no, you know, like
Yeah. No, the whole system.
the
is
whole
fucked.
system is fucked. It is.
I can't, like-
It is. It is.
Well, have fun taking that on. Good luck
You
with that.
take a rest with the advocacy. I'm gonna step in here for a little
Yeah.
bit and try to do some work. And it took me a long time to get here, but I'm finally ready to,
Good.
you know, step up. And I'm not afraid to use my voice and
Well, it's needed.
raise some hell.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
You'll make some changes.
I hope so. And like I said, I honestly can't thank you enough for sharing your story with me and my little audience, and you know, just going through it again. Like I know it's not easy and random Saturday afternoon to dig this all back up.
Well, let me get some tissue. Gert's coming over. No, it's good. I love talking about her.
Yeah.
Because it just keeps her alive.
Yeah. She's alive in my brain.
Right.
Always has been. Even before she passed, you know, I always thought about her, you know. And I probably didn't reach out to you when it happened, but when I learned that she passed, that hit me hard.
I think we had a Facebook.
Some Facebook comments.
Yeah, you did. I think that people just, they don't know what to say, especially if they have their own struggles. It's like, holy shit.
Right.
That first year back, I stayed at East Point for a year after that, and honestly, it was because the freaking staff there just carried me.
Yeah.
They were amazing.
Yeah.
Mostly women, two guys, and they just let me be however I needed to be.
Yeah.
So as a manager, I probably didn't do great, but like,
I had to go sub for you a few
amazing.
times. I remember. I had to go out there.
To East Point.
Yeah.
That's where they sent all the bad,
It
the
was,
bad boys.
It was not my favorite.
No,
I would have loved it though if I had been in it. You know, I love, you know, those challenges.
Yeah. They were. We had the physically behavioral, so we had to do takedowns a lot and stuff. And there was a lot of camaraderie. Lots of dark humor there.
There has to be. I mean, to survive that field.
Yeah.
You know,
it's hard. I had no experience with with the developmentally disabled population before I took. I'm like, sure, I can do it. And then like my first week, I was like, what the fuck?
Right. And you got thrown into one of the hardest
this guy likes
places.
to rip your freaking legs off. Okay.
Yep.
Let's talk calmly. It was oh, my puppy's up.
He's ready to go.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I appreciate this so much.